Matthew here with Peoria Adventist, and here we have, we've got 80, let me try that again. I'll start with the coronavirus. I got this. There's something I want to say that I forgot. And so we're scrambling. No. Matthew here with Peoria Adventist, and this video is about live streaming for smaller churches. Look, with the coronavirus running around and a lot of churches closing, live streaming has transformed from like a technological luxury to an essential part of the way we do worship as churches right now, just seemingly overnight. It's one of those things where I think a lot of smaller churches are like, yeah, we know it's a good thing to do, and it's been on our radar for like 10 years, but we just haven't really gotten around to it, never really had the budget for it. And now suddenly it's like church leaders are scrambling to get something set up. And they're wondering, what kind of gear do I need? How exactly do I do it? What should I be live streaming? I mean, should I just kind of sit there behind my desk and try to do a sermon with no audience, right? Like, what should I be doing? So in this series of videos, we're going to be answering those questions. And we're gearing this towards smaller churches because there's a bunch of videos out there. If you have an unlimited budget, like some of these larger churches, then you can go watch those videos, right? They're already out there for those kinds of churches. But for smaller churches, there's not a lot out there. There's not a lot out there to help them get up and going. So we're going to be making 3 assumptions. Number 1, that you don't have a large budget. Number 2, that you don't have a professional staff or even a large pool of volunteers. And number 3, perhaps most importantly, we're going to be assuming you don't have a lot of time. Right? We need to get up and going this weekend. So if you fall into that category, then this video is for you. Stay tuned. Yeah. So how are we going to do this? I've seen a bunch of videos out there that give you 10 microphones and 10 cameras and like 5 applications and 6 kinds of lighting that you should get. And then they ask you to pick one from each category, whatever one you like the best, and mix them up, and good luck. If you give me a list of 10 microphones or 10 cameras or whatever, I'm just going to obsessively research these things so I can make sure I am getting the camera or the microphone that best fits my purpose. And I've spent hundreds of hours researching things on YouTube because of that. Well, we don't have time for that right now. We need to get up and running as soon as possible. So we're going to deal with scenarios. I'm just going to give you a couple scenarios in this video and a couple in the videos to come. And whatever scenario you're in, that's the gear that I'm recommending that you get. Now, before we begin, I want to define my terms. When we talk about streaming, I'm talking about sending content live over the internet, all right? When I'm talking about online church, I'm going to define that phrase a little bit differently than maybe many people do. When I talk about online church, I mean church that is primarily oriented for an internet audience, okay? I'm not talking about, just kind of standing up front and pretending that you have a congregation, right, and going through the normal service, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about doing your traditional service in front of a camera. That's not what I mean. I mean, you're going to do a service, a worship service for the audience that's watching on the other ends of the camera. All right, so you might do things a little bit differently. You're suddenly more aware of the advantages and limitations of having to do this in front of a camera rather than with people. And the reason why I'm defining online church this way is because sometimes you see people trying to preach as if there's an audience, and it's just not the same. You know it's not the same. It doesn't work the same way. So we're not going to treat the online audience as the afterthought, as the add-on audience. They are the primary audience, and you can do so many cooler things that you couldn't do if you just had a physical audience. And we're going to go through some of those things in a later video. So without further ado, let's jump into scenario number 1. Scenario number 1, you don't have a live audience, you want to be mobile. Maybe you want to move around the church, you want to move around your home, or you just want something that's really, really, really easy to set up and take down. So the solution for you is just use your phone. It is remarkable how flagship phones, I'm talking about the iPhone, I'm talking about the Samsung Galaxy S20, they're remarkable in terms of their ability to capture video. Okay, we need to get it out of our mind that we're back in the age of like the original Motorola Razr, right? And you're just going to have your phones cannot hold a candlestick to anything else. Your phones have good cameras and they can be used to go live. The weakness you're going to face when you're using your phone is audio. So if you're going to use your phone to go live, this is what's going to sound like. My face is about 12 inches from the phone. It's not terrible, but it's not really great either, especially if I put it on a tripod or something and I'm going to put the phone way out here. It's not going to be the best. Also, you can see if you're in a church with a lot of windows, ta-da, you're going to get washed out. So you're going to have to manage your lighting very carefully. I haven't been able to find any sort of Bluetooth headphones that are going to work with going live over Facebook. I've used my AirPods. I've used a Rode Wireless Go system. Can't get any of them to work with the mobile application of Facebook. Now, you can use something like this. This is a Deity VLav. It is a lapel mic. And what is amazing and sometimes frustrating about this is that this is a really long corded mic. Okay, you can see kind of the two bundles right here. Autofocus is still on my face. There, take them, autofocus. Autofocus likes my face. How you doing? Anyways, I would say this cord is about 15 to 20 feet long. And if you have this little 3.5 millimeter connector, if you have a microphone like that, you're going to find that a lot of modern phones don't have a headphone port that you can plug this into. You're going to have to get an adapter. Now, the good news is if you got a new Samsung or you got a new iPhone anytime recently, you should have an adapter that came with it that allows you to plug this into one end of it and the other end goes into your phone, and you should be good. So wired mics will still work with Facebook. You're going to have a bit of a difficulty, I think, with Bluetooth. So if you have a mic like this, Deity, I think this thing costs about $50, then you're good to go. Otherwise, just make sure you're in a sound-treated room. There's not a lot of echo. There's not a lot of noise coming from the road outside. No one's playing piano. Cats aren't fighting somewhere in the vicinity. A nice, quiet place, and you can just use your onboard mic on your phone if that's all you have, right? It is better to do something than to do nothing, but just keep in mind, people will tolerate bad quality video to a certain extent, but they have a lot less patience with really bad audio. If you can't hear somebody well, it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter if you're filming on a cinema camera, okay? Bad audio is the killer of a good live stream. So test this out, see what it looks like in your home or in your church. Again, if you have a wired mic, use that. If you don't, just retreat to a nice sound-treated room somewhere and you'll be fine. Finally, let's talk about the streaming part. Okay, you've got your phone, you've got your tripod, you've got your mic, whatever. You got it all set up. Now, what do I do? Well, it's just as simple as going on the Facebook, and you're going to have a button that says Go Live. You're going to hit it. You're going to make sure it's at the top here. It's going to say to, right? Who are you going live to? And so you will have a choice between public, friends, only me. If you want to do a test, just hit only me, and you're the only one who's going to see it. You can go live and just kind of talk a little bit, blah, 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 try out some different features, and then go watch it on your wall. And then you can see, how do I sound? How do I look? How is this working? And that way you can figure some things out before you have to do it in front of the whole world, right? Now, if you have a private group for your church, you're more than welcome to go live inside that group. It won't go to the wider world. It'll just be in that group. So you have various settings here in this menu that you can check out. And if you just want to go public, you can go public. And when you're done, then just at the bottom, it just says Start Live Video. You hit that, you're good to go. It'll create a little bit of an announcement on your wall, letting people know who are closely following you, and start talking. Perfect. Scenario number 2, you're by yourself, right? You don't have a big team, you don't have a whole choir, but you don't care as much about being mobile. You don't care about being able to move around the church. You want something a little bit more fixed with some more features. And for you, I would recommend using a webcam and your computer. Now, let's be honest, webcams are mostly trashy, but maybe you have a quality one laying around from that time you dreamed of a vlogging career, like the Logitech C922 Pro, which is about $100. In this setup, you have a good webcam, a desk mic, like the Blue Yeti, and a computer. This is a pretty easy setup, and again, audio is the most important part. Get something like a USB microphone, like that Blue Yeti. You can get it from Best Buy or Amazon. They're somewhere between $50 and $200. And then you're going to want to download OBS. Now, OBS, while it's free and while it's super powerful, it isn't the most user-friendly. It isn't the cleanest. You're not going to open that program for the first time and say, I get this. So let me leave you a link below about how to use OBS. You'll get the hang of it in no time, I promise you. It's super simple and remarkably powerful for a free bit of software. When you open OBS, you can clearly see it isn't the most user-friendly piece of software out there. It's just usually what you're going to get when you get free stuff. But it is, I repeat, immensely powerful. It is a great piece of software. Now, what we're going to have to do, if you see down here in the bottom right, the settings button, you're going to click that. You're going to go right here to stream. If you're going to go to Facebook Live, you have other options here. You can go to YouTube, Mixer, or Twitch. Those are both gaming places. Anyways, but if we're going to go to Facebook Live, server, just leave that default. Now you're going to need what's called the stream key. And this is actually a really easy thing. You do not want to give this key to anybody. Do not post it on the internet. Do not email it. Do not text it, because anybody with this key can screw up your live stream. So just think of this like a password for the live stream that you need. It also directs OBS. It helps OBS and Facebook connect. So when you go live with OBS, it goes live on Facebook. Now we're going to need one of these. So there's this little button here, link. We're going to click on that. I already had it open, but here we are again. So this is the Facebook Live. It's facebook.com/live/create, and we're going to create our live stream right here this way. Now, I'm just going to dismiss this. Anyway, they have a new version that's coming out. But you can see right here on the right side of the screen, it has my profile picture. I can share this on my timeline or in a group if you have a private church group that you want to send this to. Maybe you don't want the whole world to see your live stream, or a page or an event. You can live stream anywhere. Type up something about it, add a title to it if you want. And here, this is important. I had this selected on only me so that, the world wouldn't see it. I can just kind of test it and make sure it works. Now, here's my stream key. All right, memorize this. Totally kidding. Okay, just hit copy. All right, you're going to go back into OBS, and you can just hit Command V if it's a Mac, or Control V if it's a PC. There you can see my stream key. All right, we're going to hit OK. Now, when you're in OBS, you have these things in the bottom left here called scenes. Okay, so we have our scene right here. You can title it whatever you want to call it. But basically, you go to sources here. Each scene has so many sources. So we're going to add one, and this is just going to be, you could do a browser, like if you want to show people your browser, or a picture, or whatever is on your monitor, you can use display capture for that. If you have like a second monitor, I would not use display capture if you have just one monitor, as it'll just kind of create like this infinity effect and blah, blah, blah. Window capture will let you show them a particular window, like could be a browser window, or Keynote, or something like that. So you have all these different possibilities. So I'm going to click Video Capture Device. I'm going to hit OK. And I got to select which device I want to use. So I'm using an iMac right now. I'm going to use my built-in FaceTime camera. Apparently I can also use my phone, which I call Eve 11. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm just going to use my face right here, and it will let you choose the resolution. The iMac camera is not that great, so don't even worry about that. I'm going to hit OK, and now you can see I have my face here. I can make it, scale it up to be full size, or If I wanted to, I can just kind of put myself in the corner. If you hold Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, you can kind of bring in these boxes here and crop if you want to kind of minimize yourself. Now, what's cool about this is you can actually create some slides in Keynote or PowerPoint or something, and you can put them in this black space here. I'm not going to go through the hassle right now, but you can put them in this black space here. So you can have like picture in picture. You can go through a sermon this way, right? Show them your slides while you're in the corner. And that's a pretty cool thing to do. If you have multiple cameras, in fact, you can just kind of switch between them. You can do all sorts of things with OBS. But this is the simplest way. Woo, I'm huge. Anyways, get yourself going there. So this is OBS. It is a powerful piece of software. At first, it might be a little bit daunting, but you see how quickly we just set this up. And now, if I hit this button over here, Start Streaming, we would be going to Facebook. And it's as easy as that. And there we are. We're live on Facebook right now. Pretty cool. And you can see your live down here at the bottom corner, and how many seconds you've been, your frame rate, how much of your CPU is taking up, all that sort of stuff. It's pretty cool. And so that's OBS. So what are the pros and cons of the computer scenario versus the phone scenario? Well, the computer scenario shares many of the strengths of the phone scenario. All right, you're not paying a lot of money. If you've already got a computer, if you've already got a webcam, or a USB microphone, which many people do, I'm sure you can find one somewhere, then you're not paying for anything. OBS is free. It's all free. And if you have to go spend something on a microphone or a camera, it's not a whole lot, right? It's not going to break the bank. Even small churches could probably come up with a few $100s towards this, if need be. So you've got some of those shared strengths with the phone streaming scenario, but you've also got so much more possibility, so much more room for creativity. I mean, you can drape a green screen behind you, and you can put yourself in Tahiti. You can put yourself anywhere you want. OBS will do that for you. You can create a virtual cam, and it will just it'll block out the green, right, and put whatever video or picture you want behind you, so it looks like you're there. You can get a high-quality microphone. You can connect your DSLR or camcorder to your computer as well if you know how to do that. If you don't, we're going to show you how in the next video. And so suddenly you're going to have a high-quality video, high-quality audio, immersive experience. I say immersive because your audience, you're going to be able to see their comments, so they're going to respond to you in real time. And that's really important for me as a preacher, because so much of preaching is looking at people's faces. Are they sleeping? Are they like, yeah, I'm nodding in agreement? Are they just kind of like wandering around? Like, you get cues from them, and you track differently in your sermon. If you realize they got your point, you just kind of move on to the next one. If you realize some of them look a little bit blank, you may pause in the moment and kind of hit that point again and again from different angles until it looks like they got it. We need that as preachers, and so you can't really get that online when you're streaming very easily. But if you see comments, if you see thumbs up, if you see hearts and smiley faces just kind of flowing up on your screen, it can really help you and realize whether you're connecting with people or not. So don't underestimate that ability, that capacity of being able to see people's responses while you're live streaming. What are the limitations? Well, you're still stuck in one place, and that's not a great thing, especially because many people's offices where their computers are, they're not really built to have a great background behind them, and they're not usually built with great lighting. So lighting is going to be a struggle, and having a nice, beautiful background, something that's pleasant to look at for an hour, is also going to be a bit of a struggle. And also, you're tied to one place, right? You're not going to have multiple cameras, most likely. You're just going to have this one camera facing you in one spot that isn't particularly well lit, like my office here, and you're going to be in the same spot every week. And if this coronavirus shuts us down for months and months and months on end, they're going to be staring at you in the same spot every single week. So it's a bit of an adjustment when you go from worshiping in a big, beautiful sanctuary with all this beautiful wood, and like our sanctuary, we have this great stone wall, and it's just open, and it feels kind of like a holy space, and then suddenly you're in someone's office, right? Like, it doesn't feel like church anymore. So you're going to have to wrestle with those feelings a little bit as well. Try to maybe move some things around so it doesn't look as familiar to people. You can put a plant in there, get a mug in there, or, just do something to kind of acknowledge that expectation that's not being met, right? This isn't a glorious space. This is the wall of your room somewhere in your home or in your church. And so you can do some things to kind of spruce that up and make it look inviting. There's plenty of YouTubers out there, just look at the background of their video. They've got the lighting down. They've got it down. It looks great and inviting. So we're just going to leave you with these two scenarios. This time you have the phone scenario, just go live on Facebook or YouTube on your phone. And you also have the computer scenario where you can just go live on your webcam sitting at your desk. And these are both very easy, very simple, very inexpensive ways to get live, to get moving right now, to provide some sort of worship content time for your church on Sabbath morning. In the next video, we're going to be going into some more advanced stuff. What if you want to have a multi-camera setup? What about those Mevos, right? Those internet-connected cameras. We can put a bunch of them around and have different angles and have somebody control it. What about the Sling Hub? What about other things? Okay, we're going to be talking about more advanced stuff next time. That's going to cost a little bit more money, but we're still going to keep an eye on your budget, still going to keep an eye on the number of volunteers you have and the amount of time you have. But if you have a little bit of money to spend, that's what the next video is going to cover. So I hope this helps. If it does, feel free to hit the subscribe button below, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when our next video in this series comes out. Our dearest hope is that this coronavirus thing is going to end. We want our churches to reopen. Nobody wants to close their churches. It's just kind of depressing. But while they're closed, we are going to think creatively. We're going to think outside the box. We are going to pray our way forward and find innovative and new ideas to hold our congregation together. And not just kind of hold it together, but to find new and exciting ways to worship our God. And that's really what this is all about. So let's get ourselves in the right frame of mind. We're not victims. We're not suffering this great inconvenience. And what are we ever going to do about it? No, look at this as an opportunity to worship in new and exciting ways. And then it becomes awesome. So if you have any ideas, feel free to share them in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see you next time.